If you're running into issues with an insurance company, your best bet is to stop speaking with them and to contact an attorney, because the more and more you speak with them, the more information that you're giving them, and the more information you're giving them to build a claim against you. They're not in any way going to work on your behalf. Their goal is to save their client money.
Dealing with insurance claims after a car accident can be frustrating. Most people don't even understand the different types of coverage available to them. Today, we're going to talk to attorney Michelle Martin about understanding your coverage and how you can ensure you get the maximum amount after an accident. Michelle, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Molly. It's nice to see you as well.
So let's start off today with an explanation of the different types of coverage that may be relevant after a car accident in Ohio.
Yeah, so in Ohio, you're going to have your what people call the liability coverage that you would have. That's the coverage that you get. It's what I call bare minimum coverage. It allows you to protect another driver if you happen to be found at fault for an automobile accident. And so this is what you have to drive in Ohio, and the minimum coverage is 2550 is typically how the policy language reads. And so that's just the liability. So that covers you if you are at fault in causing someone else's damages in an automobile accident. You also are going to have the what people call full coverage, right? So that's your collision comprehensive coverages. That's going to tell you whether or not, if you are at fault, what type of coverage you have, whether it's collision or comprehensive. It's going to tell you whether or not your car would also be covered if there was damage done to your property, even though you're the at fault driver. And so you're also going to look and see if you have what's called underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage. So that coverage is going to help you if you are not at fault, but someone hits you and they're either uninsured or underinsured. And that coverage is going to come in and step in as the uninsured or underinsured driver's insurance company. And they're going to make sure that you're made whole. In fact, if the other person does not have adequate insurance coverage. So those are the three main types of coverages that we kind of go over, or that you experience when you're in Ohio.
So, what is comprehensive insurance and how does it different from other types of coverage like liability or collision?
Yeah, so the liability and collision coverages, those coverages are just going to make sure that if you are at fault, your vehicle, the liability coverage is really not going to help your vehicle. It's more so going to help the other driver. So it's covering you if, in fact, you cause damage to someone else's vehicle. Your liability coverage is going to come in and take care of any damages that that other driver may have. Your collision coverage is going to cover is going to cover your property damage, right? So it's just that it's going to cover the damage that's done through the collision. And then you have your comprehensive coverages, and that's going to go through a plethora of different riders that you may have on your insurance policy, such as your bodily injury, your uninsured, underinsured, which people, the acronym for that is UIM or UM, your umbrella policies, your med pay, and your PIP, things to that nature. That's where you're going to see a lot of your coverages explained and a lot more detailed, is when you have the comprehensive coverages.
So many different types of coverages, and depending on what they are, what they do, it can be a little bit confusing. But in the context of personal injury, what does bodily injury liability insurance cover, sometimes called personal injury protection or PIP, and how might it apply to an accident case?
Right. So, uh, PIP, or personal injury protection, in Ohio, we don't have PIP. A lot of the surrounding cities in the Midwest, they do have PIP. So we'll see a lot of those policies, especially once you get near Hamilton County and, like, near the Cincinnati area, because you're going to head into like Kentucky where they do have PIP, or up near Northern Ohio or near the Michigan area, they have PIP. And PIP policies, of course, a lot of the Ohioans experience PIP coverage because they may get into an automobile accident with an out-of-state resident. And the PIP coverage really does help the drivers in the other vehicle, as well as your own personal, if you're also hurt in an automobile accident. PIP coverage essentially is going to allow you to get funds during the it allows for you to get funds during the life of the personal injury case. and it allows for other types of insurances where a lot of insurance policies don't allow for. So PIP coverage will sometimes allow for you to have like a personal assistant if you're unable or disabled from the automobile accident. PIP coverage is also available for you if you have to hire other folks to go out and do like your groceries, your laundry. PIP coverage is going to be available for your at your immediate automobile accident related medical treatment. So PIP coverage is going to be a lot. It's almost like an insurance line of credit that's available to help you during the difficult times while you're trying to navigate the personal injury case.
So it really comes in handy when somebody's severely injured, I can imagine. What are the legal requirements for uninsured or underinsured drivers in Ohio? Is this optional? Is the coverage optional?
The coverage is optional. The uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage is optional. However, liability insurance, the $25,500 insurance policy limits, those are not the liability insurance policies are not supposed to be. Well, they're mandatory, right? So legally, you have to at least be an insured driver in the state of Ohio. And if you're not, then that's when someone's uninsured or underinsured motorist policy would come in and help. And so while uninsured motorists is not mandatory in Ohio, it really should be because you have folks who are getting these who don't have insurance and they're getting into automobile accidents, and then you as the insured individual, if you don't know that you don't have an uninsured motorist policy available, you don't know that your insurance may not help you for the damages that's done to you by an uninsured or an underinsured motorist. So I believe that they should be almost automatically attached to any policy that's sold.
Are there any common misconceptions that you come across in your practice when it comes to uninsured or underinsured coverage?
Yes, the biggest, the biggest misconception is that if I file this claim, it is in some way going to make my insurance rates go up, or it's going to make me uninsurable in the future. And to be quite candid, that's just silly because you shouldn't have um, an insurance policy that you're unable to utilize in times of need. So you're paying for this uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist coverage, but when you actually need it, you don't want to use it because you're fearful that your insurance rates are going to hike up or that you're going to be uninsurable. However, uninsured motorist coverage is for it's for that purpose alone. That in times like this, right? So you're injured by someone, they don't have insurance, that particular medical treatment or medical coverage that you need is not covered by your health insurance because this is an automobile accident, and it was done at the result of a third party. So now you're going to need the uninsured motorist coverage to come in and help compensate you, make you whole, and to pay your medical bills. But a lot of folks, they don't want to file those claims because they don't want to use their own insurance. So that's the most common misconception. Another that I see is people think that they have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage just by the simple fact that they purchased an insurance policy and the insurance agency, insurance agent or agency has told them that this is full coverage. And so, a lot of people don't really do the research and go over the insurance policies in great detail to get a full understanding of what is covered and what is not covered and what are the options. So a lot of the time, folks think that they have the UIM and UAM coverage, and then they don't. And a lot of you don't find out until you go to use
What about health insurance? If you get in an accident, a car accident, and you go to the hospital, should you give them your health insurance? Can you get reimbursed for this? And what about med pay?
Yeah, so health insurance, yes. There's a lot of questions in that one question. So let's break it down. The health insurance is plays a huge role in any motor vehicle accident case and claim. It's one of the major reasons why people should get attorneys because you want to make sure that you are protected and you want to make sure that when you go into the emergency room, if by chance you are not conscious but they have your driver's license or your health insurance card available, they're going to utilize that information not only to contact your next of kin, but that's how they're going to identify you and find out what your medical history is and things like that. If you've been to that hospital or emergency room before, they typically have your health insurance on file. And if you go in and you are conscious, then yes, you'll want to give them your health insurance information because you don't want medical bills piling up. And sometimes in motor vehicle accidents and personal injury accident cases, they can take years, and so you don't want the medical bills to start to pile up on you. You want your health insurance to go ahead and make those payments, and then yes, they do have to be reimbursed, and that's another reason why people need to get in attorneys, because those health insurance liens, a lot of people will settle their motor vehicle accident claims with the insurance company, not paying attention to the medical bills that have been paid by the health insurance company, and not realizing that that money has to be paid back. And so once you settle this claim, you are then obligated to reimburse the health insurance company, which is it's called subrogation. They have a right of subrogation to receive any money back that they paid out on your behalf. And you can't get away from it. You can't, not pay those bills because sometimes they're related to other benefits that you receive, and sometimes they can also affect your taxes. So it's really important to make sure that those health insurance companies are notified of the accident, as well as notified that if they paid any bills out, they need to be reimbursed through the claim process. And then we also have MedPay, right? So medical payments coverage is available for your own insurance policy or through your own insurance policy. Medical payments coverage is usually coverage available that will allow for your insurance company to pay a certain part of your medical bills, again, during the life of the litigation or personal injury case cycle. And during that time, you may have emergency room bills or specialist bills that your health insurance either did not pay, or maybe you did not have health insurance. And if those bills have not been paid, you can utilize the medical payments coverage to again avoid bills from piling up and avoid them from going into collections. And you're going to want to get an attorney again for the med pay, because the medical payments coverage it can be billed with your chiropractor or other medical professionals, and they can exhaust those amounts. And the reason why that's really important is that medical payments coverage is not something that's automatic. It's something that you have to request, and it's also something that has to be paid back. So it can definitely have a huge impact on your case as well as your recovery.
So, if somebody is running into issues dealing with insurance coverage after an accident, what should they do? Is an attorney really their best route?
I believe so. The insurance companies, of course, have attorneys working on their behalf, and they have systems that are put in place to prepare the claims to move through the system. And they have a process that will allow them to evaluate your claim and get you paid as quick as possible without any care or consideration as to whether or not you've received the proper medical treatment or if you've completed your treatment at all. Their goal is, of course, to close the claim. So if you're running into issues with an insurance company, your best bet is to stop speaking with them and to contact an attorney, because the more and more you speak with them, the more information that you're giving them, and the more information you're giving them to build a claim against you. They're not in any way going to work on your behalf. Their goal is to save their client money. Their client is the insurance company. And so they're going to use whatever information you're providing with them or to them to be able to minimize your claim. So once you get an attorney, you'll have someone who can protect you, who can walk you through the process, and who can help you, navigate a lot of the insurance difficulty, whether that's through the property damage or the bodily injury damage claim itself.
It can all be so confusing. Thank you so much for the valuable information and always great to see you.
Always great to be here. Thank you so much, Molly.
And that's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney Michelle Martin. If you'd like to ask her about your situation, call the number on your screen. Thanks for watching. I'm Molly Hendrickson for Ask the Lawyers.